Well, our study evaluated the distribution of oncology clinical trials in Europe during the period 2009-2019. We used the clinicaltrials.gov database or platform to do this research and gather the data. We did an initial search for neoplasms and all the interventional studies in adults between 2009 and 2019, from early phase to phase 3. And from that, we could map the results to 34 countries in the European region. And then we analyzed that data. And what our study showed is that there are symmetries, and some of them quite large, in the distribution of oncology clinical trials in Europe. We have numbers that vary from 0.14 in Albania to 11 in Belgium per 100,000. So it's a large difference. The analysis also showed that the western and northern regions of Europe have the highest number of trials, while the eastern region has the lowest number, even if we are talking about trials per 100,000 inhabitants, as I mentioned before. There is a large difference within the same region, and in general, we could see that countries with the highest number of trials are also the countries that have the highest number of early clinical trials, or the highest proportion of early phase trials. And that reflects some kind of engagement in research. We addressed the relation to the GDP and the cancer incidence, but despite some moderate correlation, that correlation cannot explain the observed asymmetries. So this is suggesting that there are other factors at play. And overall, we could observe an increase in the number of trials in Europe between 2010 and 2018, more pronounced in early phase, and that was a positive trend. Still, some countries, and especially the countries with the lowest numbers of trials, had a contraction in the total number of trials during this period, which is not positive, not at all. So I think those were the major findings. And if you had to take one home message, I would say that there are asymmetries, and those asymmetries that we observe can lead to potential asymmetries in the access to clinical trials in oncology. I mean, I think, or we think, because this was a study done by the LGP 2019 group, we have long had the impression in those that work within oncology that there is an asymmetry in the clinical trials in Europe. So somehow we want to map those eventual differences and see the data, which we could do. So I think that the most relevant data is the relation with the relations, the GDP, the regions, the GDP, the cancer incidence, to see if those factors could explain the symmetries. But we also know that we need to go further and look into each country and try to explain why some countries are doing so well while others are not doing so well, despite maybe similar GDPs or cancer incidences. I think that to see that other countries are doing better or worse might lead to a reflection on why is it so, and try to learn and get better from that comparison. I mean, the challenge are mainly the statistical analysis and to do them well and to address the right questions in the right way. But I think we got good data, and we'll do further analysis. We are doing more analysis, and we'll continue to do. We are looking, while breaking down the data to countries and regions. And I think it's extremely important in terms of public policy, because clinical trials are very important in the cancer treatment and in the development of new cancer treatments and access to new treatments, which may be very valuable for our cancer patients. So this is what we are doing because we believe it's important. Then it will come in the paper with all the analysis in a couple of months, I believe. No, not that we are aware. There are some studies or reports done in the US looking at asymmetries, but mainly in the recruitment of patients and access to clinical trials as such, based on social disparities. There are some reports done by the industry and also by authorities within each country, but not a global study that we haven't seen before. I mean, yes, we have received some comments, and people want to know more details about this distribution to be able to work with this information that we are bringing to light. I think some also feel that for the first time we could put this into numbers and black and white without just having this kind of feeling that clinical trials are not evenly distributed in European countries. I also think that some people working with clinical trials or agencies have looked into this as a positive data to be able to compare yourself with others, which is also important. I mean, you can't not only know how well you are doing, you need to know how well you are doing in relation to others to see how better you can be.